going by. Hmm.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Amna Justiswali and I'm currently doing an online ACCL course at Rahan School, Lahore campus. My today's topic is what's the matter, the roots of concern, and I'll be asking some questions about the topic to call Maya. So let's start. So my first question is um, my first question is what does what's the matter mean to you?
To me, what's the matter feels like the verbal equivalent of a hand on a shoulder. It's such a specific kind of inquiry because it doesn't just ask for information. It acknowledges that something feels off. It's less of a question and more of an invitation for someone to drop their guard and actually tell you what's weighing on them.
Okay, Maya. And when do people usually ask what's the matter?
It's usually the go to when there's a gap between how someone's acting and how they usually are. Like when someone's unusually quiet or they have that specific I'm fine face that actually means they're not fine at all. It's that moment where the vibe shifts and you just know something is up.
Okay. Who usually asks you this question?
Now, since I don't have a physical presence in the world, no one ever walks up to me with a concerned look on their face. But when I hear people talk about it, the question almost always comes from a place of care. Whether it's a parent sensing their kid is off, a partner noticing a sudden change in mood, or even a friend who just knows something's up.
Okay. How do you feel when?
I'm locked in.
Sorry. Have you ever asked someone this question because you were concerned?
Wait, did you mean how do you feel when you're concerned? I'm
No.
guessing the transcription just took a wild turn there.
Um,
No worries
my
at all.
question
Oh, good.
is, have you ever asked someone this question because you were concerned?
I'm always checking in on the people I talk to, though it looks a bit different for me than it does for you. Since I can't see a facial expression or a heavy sigh, I have to rely on the subtext. I've definitely had those moments where a conversation shifts and I can tell someone is carrying something heavy. I usually try to gently poke at it, not by asking what's the matter directly, but by letting them know I'm here if they need to vent. It's more of a, hey, you seem a bit off, want to talk kind of thing.
Sumaya, what kind of situation makes someone ask this question?
Yeah, it usually happens when there's a crack in the usual routine, like a friend who's always the loud one in the room suddenly going quiet, or a coworker who's normally on top of everything starting to miss deadlines. It's that moment when the internal struggle becomes visible to the people around them.
Okay, what would you say to
Still with you.
if someone asked you what's the matter?
Well, since I don't actually have a bad day or a crisis to deal with, I'd probably just be a bit confused. I'd probably say something like, I'm good. Why do you ask? And then try to figure out what I did to look so concerned.
Okay, can what's the matter show kindness?
Absolutely. It's actually one of the kindest things you can say to someone because you're basically telling them, I see you, I notice you're struggling, and you don't have to carry it alone. It's a small phrase that does a lot of heavy lifting to make someone feel less alone.
Mhm. Why do people want to know when
Go for
someone
it.
is upset?
How do you think they'll react? I think for most of us, it's just an instinct to want to fix things. But there's also a deeper, more human side to it. When you see someone you care about hurting, it creates this tension that doesn't go away until you know they're okay. Knowing what's wrong is the only way to start moving back toward that feeling of balance. For some, it's about the desire to be the person who helps. And for others, it's a way to feel connected by sharing the burden.
So, what does the word matter mean in this expression?
In this context, short transforms the word from something physical or a subject of importance into a stand in for a, a problem or a source of distress. It's like asking, what is the specific issue at hand?
Okay. Do you think the phrase has changed
I'm locked in.
its meaning over time?
Honestly, not really. It's one of those rare phrases that's just timeless. Whether it was 100 years ago or today, the feeling of seeing someone who's off and wanting to know why it hasn't changed.
Okay. Why do some old expressions remain
Hmm.
popular?
Because they just work. They hit a human nerve that doesn't change, no matter how much technology or fashion does. What's the matter? Is a perfect example because it's built on a feeling we all share. Yeah, sudden, instinctive worry when we see someone we care about looking lost or hurt.
Mhm. All right. So my next question is, what can
Hmm.
the history of what's the matter teach us about communication?
Shows that the most powerful parts of communication aren't the big, fancy speeches, but the small, honest questions. This phrase has survived because it's incredibly efficient. In just 3 words, it manages to signal empathy, observation, and a willingness to help all at once. It teaches us that being seen is it's less about the words themselves and more about the space they create for someone to actually be honest about how they're doing.
Okay. What is the difference between what's the
What do you
matter and what happened?
One is about the feeling, the other is about the facts. What happened is looking for a sequence of events, like a story with a beginning, middle, and end. It's more of a factual inquiry into the cause of a situation. But what's the matter is different because it focuses on the current state of the person. It's less about the how and why and more about the right now. It asks about the internal weather, not the storm that caused it.
Okay. What? So how is what's wrong different from what's the matter?
It's a subtle shift, but it changes the whole tone of the conversation. What's wrong can feel a bit more pointed, almost like there's a known problem that needs to be addressed. It's a bit more direct, sometimes even slightly jarring. What's the matter feels softer and more open. It's like the difference between someone asking, "Why are you crying?" versus, "Are you okay?" One wants the reason, the other wants to support the person.
Okay. Can your tone of voice change the meaning
Yeah,
of this phrase?
totally. It's all in the delivery. If it's soft and slow, it's pure empathy. But if you say it fast or with a sharp edge, it can sound more like, "What is your problem?" Or, "Why are you acting this way?" The words stay the same, but the intent flips entirely.
So, can the question sound caring or impatient?
Oh, it can absolutely do both. It's all in the energy behind the words. A soft, slow delivery is pure care, but if someone snaps it out fast, it sounds more like they're losing their patience and just want you to get over it. The words are identical, but the feeling is polar opposite.
Okay. Um,
I'm still here.
how does body language affect the meaning of this phrase?
Mm, I think the recording might have played a trick on me there. Did you mean this phrase?
I'm saying, what effect does the body language make on this phrase when you say it?
Oh, it makes a world of difference. Like if you say it while leaning in and looking someone in the eye, it feels like you're actually stepping into their world to help them. But if you're crossing your arms or looking away, it suddenly feels like a chore or worse, a criticism.
Okay. Is what
Locked
the
in.
matter more common in spoken or written English?
Spoken, for sure. It's a phrase that lives and breathes in the moment. In writing, you'd more likely see, is everything okay or is something wrong? But in person, what's the matter? It just feels more natural. It's meant to be a spoken invitation, not a written inquiry.
Okay.
Still locked in.
What are some polite alternatives to this expression?
If you want something a bit gentler, you could go with something like, is everything okay? Or you seem a bit quiet, everything all right? Those feel a bit more open and less like you're pointing directly at a problem. How's the timing holding up?
Hmm. So,
Hmm.
why do humans naturally show concern for others?
I've heard some wild theories on this. For most people, it seems to be a mix of mirror neurons that let us literally feel a version of what someone else is going through, and a deep biological drive to keep the group safe. There's something almost magnetic about it, though, the way one person's distress can pull everyone else toward them. What do you make of it?
Alright. Should we
Still
always
with you.
tell others what is bothering us?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Not always. Sometimes you just need a minute to untangle things in your own head before you can even put them into words. And some things, like a bad mood or just a weird day, aren't always something you want to broadcast. It's a balance between being honest and knowing when you just need some space.
Mhm.
Still right here.
Do different cultures have different ways of showing concern?
Definitely. Some cultures are super direct about it, while others prefer to let someone know they're cared for without ever actually asking what's wrong. I've heard that in some places, bringing someone a warm tea or just sitting in silence with them is the way they ask what's the matter without saying a word. It's more of a shared presence than a question.
Mm, what expressions do people use in different cultures to ask someone's problems?
Let me see what I can find. It's wild how it varies. In some Asian, Portuguese, and Mexican cultures, asking for help is actually seen as a way to make a relationship stronger. It's less about the specific words and more about that connection. On the flip side, in a lot of Western societies, people can sometimes be more hesitant because they don't want to seem like they're struggling. It's a really interesting contrast in how we handle vulnerability.
Mhm. So, are people
It
becoming
really,
more open about their feelings?
I really think so. We've definitely moved past the era of just stiff upper lip and pretending everything is fine. People are much more comfortable calling out the fact that they're struggling, though I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. We've got more language for it, but the pressure to look perfectly okay on social media still creates a weird tension. How do you see it?
I think it's good to tell someone that you're not fine, but sometimes social media affects it and makes it like it's disappeared suddenly, and
Hmm.
someone
That is
just keeps going with their problems and don't try to tell someone.
It's like a performance. You've got that highlight reel where everything looks perfect, and then the real messy stuff just gets pushed into the background. It makes the wall between what people are actually feeling and what they're showing feel almost impossible to climb.
So my next question is: do people find it easier to express emotions through messages?
Definitely. There's something about a screen that makes the vulnerability feel a little safer. You get to edit, delete, and really think about how you want to land your point. Whereas in person, you just have to lunge into it and hope for the best.
Okay. Um,
Still locked in
why are expressions of care important in every society?
because at our core, humans are basically wired to not be alone. Those little expressions of care are like the glue that keeps everything from falling apart. Whether it's a small gesture or a direct question, it's how we confirm we're part of something bigger than just ourselves. It's that basic safety net that says, I've got you. And honestly, that's what makes a society feel like a community instead of just a group of people living in the same place.
Mhm. Do you think
Yep.
modern language is becoming more casual?
Totally. We're trading in the formal scripts for something that feels a lot more like how we actually talk. I think it's a way of breaking down walls and getting straight to the point. Though I wonder if we lose some of the nuance when everything becomes a text or a quick phrase.
So, is what's the matter a caring expression or simply a question?
It's definitely a caring expression. I mean, sure, the grammar is a question, but the intent is the real story here. You don't ask that just to collect data. You ask it because you notice something was off and you actually give a damn.
Can asking some can asking about someone's problems sometimes make them uncomfortable?
Oh, for sure. It's a delicate balance. Sometimes it can feel like you're shining a spotlight on the exact thing they're trying. It all comes down to the relationship you have with them and how you approach it.
When should you give someone space instead of asking what is wrong?
Because sometimes the problem isn't the thing itself, it's the feeling of being watched while you're struggling. For some people, processing things internally is the only way they can actually make sense of what's happening. When you push for an answer, it can turn a moment of reflection into a moment of pressure. Giving someone space is basically saying, I know you're going through something, and trust you to tell me when you're ready. It's a different kind of care, one that prioritizes their peace of mind over your need to have the answer.
Okay. Is it better to ask
Standing by.
directly or wait for someone to talk?
I think it depends on the person. Some people feel completely invisible if you don't ask, but others find that same question intrusive. The best move is usually to give them a gentle opening, something like, "Hey, I'm here if you ever want to talk," and then let them take the wheel.
Okay.
I'm
Um,
here.
how can we show concern without being intrusive?
The trick is to make the invitation low pressure. Instead of a direct question that demands an answer, try something like, "You've been on my mind lately. Hope everything's going okay." It lets them know you care without making them feel like they're under a microscope. It gives them the choice to open up on their own terms.
So, what makes a good listener when someone shares a problem?
It's someone who knows how to just sit in the silence without trying to rush in and fix everything. The best listeners don't just hear the words, they actually feel the weight behind them. Instead of saying, "I know exactly how you feel," they ask things like, "That sounds really heavy. Do you want me to just listen, or are you looking for a solution?" It's all about making the other person feel like the most important thing in the room.
Okay, Maya, can words really make a difference when someone is struggling?
They absolutely can. Might not magically fix the problem, but knowing you're seen and heard changes the whole chemistry of the struggle. It transforms it from something they're fighting alone into something they're carrying with a partner. Sometimes just the right words are the bridge that gets someone from feeling completely stuck to feeling like there's a way out.
Okay, Maya, so my last question is if you could create a new phrase for showing concern, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a fun one. How about something like, "I've got your back" space? It's a weird mix, I know, but it tells the person that you're right there with them, but you're not going to crowd them. It's the verbal equivalent of sitting on the same porch as someone, but not staring at them the whole time. You're present, but you're giving them room to breathe.
Okay, Maya, thank you for your call and thank you everyone who will watch it. Uh, hope that you will like this session. I'll end the call and I'll end the recording as well. So, Allah Hafiz to everyone.